Hey guys, today this video is going to start out here in the store so that I can have easy access to some of the things we're going to be talking about. What this video is on some of the small emergency kits that I build. Some of our followers and some of my students have asked about the thought process that goes into them and wanted me to do sort of a class on them, and I thought I would just put it all in a video and put it on our channel. So stick around for a few minutes and we're going to talk about emergency contingency kits. Now, when it comes to contingency kits and emergency survival kits, the sizes can vary from larger ones where food can be considered, water is definitely a consideration. For longer term situations, a bigger kit is better, obviously. For some of my quick jaunts into the woods from the side of the highway for photographs, I developed a water bottle survival kit that has, a water bottle in it. Initially, it had a way to boil water. It had a steel cup in the bottom, and then I found the grails, and the grails just purify water through press, kind of like a French press. And early on, my very first contingency kit consisted of nothing but a pilot survival knife and a stone to keep it sharpened, a bandana for pre-filtering water, and a Zippo lighter. And that was my fire capability, my cutting capability, my hammer capability, my self-defense capability, and pre-filtering water or bandage material, whatever. But what this video is going to be on is just like small day trip emergency kits, contingency kits, things that can easily fit in a cargo pocket, or things that can fit in a smaller pack. And these can be modular and be part of a larger set, obviously. But what we're going to go into here is the thought process behind how I put these small kits together and the contingencies that they are designed to cope with. Having grown up wandering the hills here in Tennessee and the swamps in South Florida with my dad, learning wood lore, and then spending a lot of time on the streets alone after I lost my parents as a teenager. For me personally, I was fine with having just the basics and adapting to the situations as they arose. I remember always having a small knife for splinters, and the pilot's knife, the survival knife for the heavy lifting, always having a Zippo for my fire starting. And then I remember my first magnesium fire starter, and what an awesome piece of kit was. That was the addition that sticks out most in my mind. Early on, I swapped it out for the stone and the sheath because I didn't plan on being in the middle of nowhere long enough to need to sharpen my knife, but I might need to start a fire, and they were the same size, so it worked out well. It wasn't until I became a dad that this stuff developed. It was going on day trips to amusement parks and day hikes at national parks and battlefields, and going to different places with my daughter, going on road trips, that I realized I needed to put something together for all those little bumps, bruises, splinters, it's like the tweezers, just to be the ability to cut things, a magnifying glass to be able to see small things that were in her eyes, or splinters in her fingers, or what have you. And then obviously band-aids and allergy medicines. Initially it was chewable Benadryl because she was small, but as she was able to swallow pills, then I prefer these because they're cheaper and they last longer, and they store in these little packs. But in this particular kit, I have light, and I have learned that I much prefer the lights that have twist bezels rather than buttons. Buttons can accidentally be pushed inside the kit, out of sight, out of mind, and drain the batteries, whereas it's almost impossible to turn the bezel on this one-handed, so I don't see it getting turned inside the kit, and then the batteries are still good when I need light. Tweezers, the ability to make a note is very important when you're dealing with small children sometimes. The ability to write down directions where you're trying to go, keep up with your itinerary, because small children will keep your mind so full that it's hard to remember things from 1 minute to the next. Good to write them down, directions, time frames, whatever is going on. That was all developed pre-smartphone, and, so I actually had hard copy directions and hard copy notes, and a good multi-tool. It wasn't until later years that we could get decent quality small multi-tools for kits like this. And then I like having a piece of kit that's guaranteed fire. That there's no way it can leak all its fuel. It's just spark based, and then it has tinder in the handle. There's different variations of this. The Air Force issued a small kit to pilots that had the tinder quick tabs and then a sparker to light them with. It's called the spark light. But as you can see, this is one small kit. Go up to the next size and it can fit more in it. One of the things that I noticed with my daughters as she got older and more active and we did more things, little boo-boos became bigger boo-boos, and at times anyway, and that I needed more than just Band-Aids. So the small kit wasn't big enough for me to put a whole roll of medical tape in for gauze, so I just put a few gauze pads and then wrapped some medical tape around my ibuprofen capsule, which also actually contains Sudafed, Aleve, ibuprofen, and Benadryl. I just put it all in the same bottle and dispense it as I need it. And then as we spent more time in state parks like the Great Smoky Mountains, I added a small heavy-duty fixed blade to this kit. This is an SE Candero, so it's skeletonized, so it's lightweight, doesn't weigh much, and it's not very big, but it's 1095 steel, and it can take a lot of abuse, so I can do more splitting pine knots to start a fire under wet conditions than what I could do with the Swiss Army knife. So that was another addition that took place over the years. And then in time, the entire kit needed to be a little bigger to hold more things and more stuff. And so the next segment will be on a slightly larger kit. One of the capabilities of the larger kit is redundant systems. More ways to start a fire, more medical supplies, antiseptic, germicides, but they can also be used as, the hand sanitizer can also be used as a fire starter or a tinder material, chemical tinder material. Sparks will ignite it when it's on cloth or paper. So there's that. And then also the addition of things is great in the larger kit. Like this is germicidal tablets for purifying water. If we go further and longer than we intended to go, than just a day hike, or things go wrong, and that's the whole point of the contingency kit. And it's a waterproof flashlight, and once again the ability to take notes and leave notes, and the paper can also serve as fire starter. And then I have more space for different things like Benadryl cream and triple antibiotic ointment for bad cuts. It's gonna take a while to get back to the vehicle. And while I typically pair this with a larger knife when I'm going out on hikes in the middle of nowhere, I like to still keep a small one in the back part of the kit, same as with the smaller kit. So, and the disadvantage with this one is it doesn't fit so easily in a cargo pocket. The advantage is that in a backpack, it's part of a modular system where I can have others of these Maxpedition organizers that are, you can set them up where one kit is primarily fire starting on one side, primarily light on the other. One's almost completely dedicated to first aid. You can do it any way you want. This is just letting you know how some of the thought process that goes into my times of putting these together, because they're just contingencies. They're just a dad trying to make sure that he can take care of his daughter. One thing I wanted to add in is one of the things I always kept with me when I was out with my daughter was a whistle that I could give to her if we got separated or while I was out gathering firewood or gone to purify water or something and we were apart, for her to be able to signal if she needed help without just screaming. And the sound of the whistle travels further. So when you're dealing with children, it's always good to have a whistle for them to be able to get in touch with you. One of the things that I like to keep in my kits and have kept since they made this available on the market is triple antibiotic ointment or multi-antibiotic ointment plus pain relief. The lidocaine is very helpful with children's boo-boos and improving the quality of the day after an accident. So I initially carried the little spray bottles, but I found out the hard way they're fragile. I preferred that because spraying it, I didn't have to touch the wound with a Q-tip, but I broke a couple of them over time in kits, and it just learned the hard way that having a tube of the cream is just an easier way to go for me. And another thing that is a recent addition, this is another one of the Exotech products. I'm hoping we have Exotech in at the knife shop soon, because I hope we get to carry the Nano Sparks and the Rip Spools and a few of their other products. But I love the Rip Spool. It's about 5 feet of Gorilla Tape, as you can see. And then I think they're about 60 feet of 30-pound test braided line and a sail needle. And the way this works, you can thread the needle, and then when you're sewing, the end of the tool works as a thimble so that you can force the needle through heavy cloth or what have you. And then it all stores together, and threads together, and so that you can actually replace the Gorilla Tape if you need to, and the lanyard is fire cord. So to me, this is just a great emergency repair kit that you can keep in your kit so that you can repair clothing or repair a pack or what have you. But the tape and the fire cord as well are fire starting materials, so it's just a very handy piece of equipment. So that's another one that I've added to my kits lately. So that ends the section on the smaller contingency kits. Hopefully that gives you a little food for thought and helps you understand the thought process behind choosing the pieces of gear, and may help you in choosing pieces of kit for your own contingency kits, or why you might choose different ones. it gives you hopefully insight into how to choose them. And later on, when I have an opportunity to put it together, we'll do another show on the larger kits and show how the smaller kits, the modular kits, can fit in with the larger ones and how they work in conjunction with each other. And we'll get into that then. So, see you next time, and have a blessed day.